free Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Download the app in the description below. Hey guys, welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to a bit of an update video. What was going on? Right. I'm salty, I'm triggered, I'm annoyed. If there's an emotion in the world, I'm probably feeling it right now. The past week's just been extremely bad. It's not that it didn't go to plan. It was one of those weeks where everything that you don't expect to happen happens. A lot of personal problems that I don't want to get into. The internet has been dying for the past 3 weeks, and to make matters more annoying for myself, I had to cancel yesterday's stream in a week during which I have almost every vehicle spaded. This is the week to do it. I am in the final phase, the final step of what is a 4-year journey, and my internet is dying out every 5 minutes or so. And, I'm only human, so whenever shit really kind of piles up to that point, you reach a boiling point, and I had to take a day off. I took my evening off, I got some food, went for a spliff, drank a beer, played some Wolfenstein, laid back to some music, and just dedicated the evening to myself. And I don't know how or why, but I've been one of the most salty people on the internet, at least for War Thunder's sake, for the past 2 years alone. I mean, the amount of shit that I've said and done in the past year alone is beyond me. And it always had something to do with complaining or whining or being annoyed by something or being triggered by something. And I looked back at most of the things that happened and I thought to myself, is there anything that you can do about it? Because if there is something you can do about this situation that's annoying you, that's, for some example, making your emotions go all over the place, making you moody. If there's something you can do about it, then go ahead and do that. If there is not, then you shouldn't be worrying about it. You should not be getting triggered or annoyed by matters that you don't have any control over. If your internet keeps dying, it's a matter of your internet provider. Now, what you can do is you can talk to them, you can get them to try to fix the problem as soon as possible, communicate with them, but just getting salty as fuck ain't gonna help anyone. Same story happens to everyday events like, missing the bus or nearly getting hit by a car when you're riding your bike because the guy in the car wasn't watching. It's your job to make sure that you're, being cautious and being on time. If you're going through a tough relationship or a breakup or something, and if there's nothing that you can do from your end, then you shouldn't really be worrying about it. You shouldn't waste your emotions for shit that you can't control. And I've done this in real life, I've done this in the game, I've done this on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Discord. If there's a fucking website that there could have been, an emotional dysfunctionality, I've shown it several times. And don't get me wrong, I don't have issues showing my emotions, not at all. What I have an issue with is that I continuously return back to my old flawed ways. And it's one of my characteristics that I continuously ignore my own advice. So, once and for all, I'm saying to myself, fuck it, don't do that shit, go with your own instincts, do what you want to do, and do it the way you want to do it. So, this is the last week. I'm not going to let a couple of internet problems come through to me. I've talked to the guys at the internet company, they're getting their shit fixed. I'm going through the final spading process tomorrow on the live stream and on Saturday. I think on Saturday, if everything goes correctly, we should actually be finished. If not, it will be the beginning of next week that I will no longer have a vehicle requiring to unlock. I will be focusing on achieving the God of War title, but that is really much all that I have to focus on. So, what have I really been working on? Well, I went through the remaining top-tier tanks spade over the past 2 weeks. Those were the Conqueror, the FV4005, and the top-tier Japanese tanks. Currently, I've got 6 SPAs left, which is the Vulcan, the Coelian, the Gepard, the Type 87, the Shilka, and the Falcon. All of them very similar characteristics because they're all playing at top tier with the exclusion of the Coelian. And the way I've used them is this tactical approach of doing as little, putting as little effort into it, but getting as much fun, footage, and also assistance for the team. And the idea behind it is to get an SPA, spawn it in first, go for a capture point, get the points required, maybe, imply some damage to the enemy teammates. You really just have to hit a couple of tanks at the same time, and then you spawn in a plane. And the idea is that with the aircraft, with the use of close air support, with really well-developed lineups, I was able to help my team win the match, carry it from the air. And even though the SPA wasn't used for long, and even though I was averaging maybe 1,000 to 2,000 research points for the researched module in the SPA, if you can do this in consistent results, you know, it might take a while, but you're making a lot of silver lines doing this because tanks cost more than planes, and here you're actually using planes more. You're winning matches, which means you get more RP on average, and it's all about being consistent, but planes also make for some dang good footage. And so, whilst I've been spading SPAs, I've sort of gone through this great deal of footage, which I can now use as indication or pointers for any kind of guideline or tutorial sense in the close air support range. Fantastic. It's sort of like, you know, when you're digging a hole, you're building a mountain, and it really is kind of down those lines, is that whilst making one achievement, I'm actually acquiring footage of something completely different. And it's the matches like the one you're watching in the background that I absolutely enjoy having, because they're laid back, they're enjoyable to have, and they make for fantastic viewership as well. These are the type of matches that keep me coming back into the game. It's about having a good lineup, it's about enjoying a battle ring you're playing at, it's about having a consistent team, and being able to help them out as best as possible. And yet, there's always a question I get asked, which is, how do you motivate yourself to grind further? How do you motivate to grind in the first place? Where's the idea to just go and spade everything in the game? And the answer is, the grinding is what motivates me. See, your question is an answer in itself, you just have to turn the words around. If there was no grinding in War Thunder, I wouldn't be playing it. It's what I enjoy doing the most. Now, it's not to say that certain things are too hard to grind, it's not to say that certain, you know, tanks are just a pain in the ass to go through the stock process. But it's an achievement. It's a goal that you set for yourself. And nothing in life motivates me quite as much as setting goals and achieving them. Doing what most people think is impossible. Being the first person to dare to do something or attempt something in a different way. That's what keeps me coming back for more. And so to vaguely answer the question, what am I going to do after I'm done spading, which is going to be next week, I don't know yet. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go and set myself a new goal. I'm going to go for something even harder to do. No, I can really tell you I'm not going to go and unlock each and every camouflage, but I might go and unlock certain camouflages on certain tanks if I so feel like. More or less, I'm going to be focusing and currently transferring my assets in going back into air battles, trying to relearn the top tier jet combat, trying to improve my technique there, but also focus more of my time on the type of lineups and the type of videos where you can really just suck out all the technique, all the tactics, and any kind of guideline or tips and tricks you can possibly give you. So that'll be something I'll be worrying about, if nothing else, on live streams over the next couple of months. We will be flying out a lot more planes. It's finally time for that. There will still be streams where I'm going to go back into tanks. I'm going to be mainly focusing trying to stream and acquire footage at the same time, which means I, half the time required to collect footage. And we're also going to be grinding whenever new patches do come out. So if a patch is released, 1.69, I will be focusing the entire first week or maybe first 2 weeks to unlock the vehicles with premium planes or vehicles with tanks, and then focus on grinding them, spading them, and then of course returning back to the normal routine. All in all, I know this is a little bit of a different video, probably something you didn't expect or didn't know what you were really clicking on. I'm clickbaited in 2017. I think this was just a giant ramble of me getting things off my chest, but I gotta say it feels good to get information out of my head sometimes. It makes me a little bit less stressed. And overall, really, the one thing I want to send out there is just don't stress yourself, and don't worry, and don't get annoyed or angry by things you can't control, because in the long term, trust me, it's going to weigh you down much more than taking a bit of a laid-back journey through life. Anyways, we'll be back on Friday with a normal video tomorrow, and on Saturday we're doing the final week of grinding on the SPAs. And I think that pretty much covers any question that you guys might have had. So, yeah, I think my job here is done. I can return back to my normal content at hand and focus on, well, getting my shit together. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.